Okay. Hi, everybody. It's August the 6th, 2018, and this is, I think, our 16th or 15th Macro Monday. So, as I've already indicated, don't have very much juice on my computer, and I forgot my charger in Ottawa. So, I'll go on for as long as I can. Hopefully, we can go the full half hour. So, I just came back from the summer conference. I was there for 2 days of the summer conference, and Cunyo, who's joined us this evening because I guess there's no Zumba because of the holiday. He was there for the whole week. It was really excellent. The food was really good. The location was great. The teachers and the guest speakers and all the programs were wonderful. So encourage you to go next year if you possibly can. It's really worth it. You come back feeling quite refreshed and re-inspired. So then I went to New York City. It was really hot in New York City. Then I went to Ottawa for a couple of days. So I've done a big grand tour of of the eastern seaboard. Um, so tonight the topic is liver gallbladder because I was going to start talking about the different meridians, the paired organs and the different meridians. But it occurred to me that I probably should start with explaining a little bit about the 5 transformations of energy and where the organs fit in with that diagram. So I'm going to draw the so 5 transformations. For those of you that this is completely new for. So we've talked about, or maybe we haven't actually talked about yin and yang on Macro Monday, but in macrobiotics, macrobiotics is all about understanding energy, the movement of energy, and our relationship to nature. So we divide. Um, we talk about things being yin or yang. Yin being expansive, upward energy that comes from the rotation of the earth, and yang is heaven's force or downward energy and contracting energy. And we classify foods into yin and yang, and so examples of yin or expansive foods would be sugar, alcohol, coffee, stimulants, spices, tropical fruit. And examples of yang food are salt, animal food, baked flour products, anything that makes you contracted and has lots of energy in it. And we're yin and yang, or opposites are always attracted to each other. And yin, something can't ever be completely yin, nor can something ever be completely yang. So anything, any matter has an element of both yin and yang. It just depends on the percentages or the proportions of that energy. So if you classify something as yin, it means that it has it's more yin relative to another object. But everything has a little bit of its opposite in it. And so energy doesn't just move, it doesn't just move up and down or across. It moves and creates spirals. Now I've got a frog in my throat. Excuse me. So energy, as energy moves, it creates spirals. We see lots of examples of spirals in nature. So, and then energy moves and transforms into other elements, right? And there's actually a pattern of that. We call it the 5 transformation. So when yin and yang combine, they form different elements. So I'm going to draw the 5 transformations. This is a circle. Actually, it's not, it's a circle. We always refer to it as a circle, but it's actually a spiral. So it doesn't really join. It's like a never-ending spiral. So there's a spiral of materialization where things move from expanded to contracted. And then there's the spiral of the opposite of materialization or spiritualization, or moving into the infinite. So you get matter starts to expand and the spiral gets bigger and bigger. But anyways, we'll pretend that it's a circle and it's static. So we have on the one side, on the left side of the spiral facing us is upward energy. So energy moves up. It moves around the circle. Then that's an arrow going up. Then the energy reaches its peak and it disperses, right? So it's like um, disperses. So what happens up here is, so think of um, things rising like condensation. So moisture goes into the air, goes into the air, and then it becomes heavy and it starts to fall down again. So it starts to disperse. Okay, so clouds start to break up and they fall down. That's what we mean by energy dispersing. Okay, it reaches its highest peak and then it starts to fall down. So then we have downward energy over here. So energy starts to move downward. Then energy starts to contract like this. And then energy floats. Oops, oops. We have floating energy. And each of these 5 transformations have a name. So in macrobiotics, we call this upward energy tree energy. Sorry, I don't have to write this in because it's tree. And then upward energy, dispersing energy, or when the energy reaches its highest point, it disperses. Call that fire. Fire energy, a fire element. And then downward energy is soil. Soil energy. And then metal energy, when the energy starts to contract, it becomes hard, that's metal. And then water energy is floating energy. Okay. Okay. So you should write these down and keep these in mind because not only do we classify things into yin and yang, but then there's further classifications into these elements. Um, so tree energy would represent, in terms of the seasons, would represent the springtime, because that's when, things start to sprout. Fire energy is summertime. Soil energy is late summer. Metal energy is fall, everything starts to contract. And water energy is floating energy, it's wintertime. So everything is flat or calm on the surface, but there's lots of stuff going on underneath. And then the cycle continues again, and we have upward energy again in the spring. So that's the classification in terms of the seasons. Then we can classify in terms of the time of day. So upward energy, tree energy would be morning energy, when energy starts to rise. Fire energy is 12 noon, where the sun is at its highest point in the sky. Soil energy would be from 3 to 5 or so in the afternoon, as the energy starts to drop down. Metal energy is in the evening, and then the water energy is nighttime, when we're lying horizontally and we're resting. But lots of stuff is happening even though we're resting, right? And then again, morning time, tree energy. We can classify times of day, seasons. Um, you can even do personalities and things like that, but we won't do that. And we can also classify the organs, right? So I'm just assuming you have a basic understanding of where the organs are in our body. And if you don't, just let me know and we can go over that too. So the meridians, okay, the meridians refer to organs. Okay, so we have in tree energy. So all the meridians are paired with organs. Okay, we have paired organs. So tree energy or upward energy in that category is the liver gallbladder. So liver gallbladder. So those are paired organs. The gallbladder is small and contracted, and it sits close to the liver, under the liver. The liver is a larger organ, okay? The gallbladder is the yang organ that is nourished by heaven's force. The liver is the yin organ. So the liver point, the liver starts on the side of the big toe and goes up the inside of the leg through the reproductive organs and up into the liver, and then it the liver area, and then it comes out here and goes um, comes out the side of the neck and goes through the eye. So you can look at a meridian chart, or you can find them on the internet very easily, or just look up liver gallbladder and you can get the charts. So the liver meridian is actually something that can be the energy, that liver energy, the meridian. It's actually a channel of energy. It can be measured by scientifically with sensitive equipment. So there's energy flowing through that liver meridian. And there's points on the liver meridian that you can stimulate, or with acupuncture or with shiatsu. So you either tonify or stimulate different points. If you've been to an acupuncturist, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so that's the liver meridian. It's a yin meridian. It moves upward and it goes to the reproductive organs, and then it goes through the eyes. So the gallbladder is the yang organ. So it starts on the side, on your temple, on the side of the eye. It goes around. It's got two. It breaks up into two branches on the side of your head and around the ear and down to the base of your neck, and then it travels along the shoulder and then under the armpit and along the outside side of your body. So the meridians are on both sides of your body. So the gallbladder meridian runs from both sides of your body, around your head, down your neck, around the side of your body, and it exits out the fourth toe. The liver meridian starts on the inside of your big toe and runs up on the inside of your legs through the reproductive organs into the liver and then through the eyes. Okay, so this liver gallbladder, you see, it's important to note that it's on the up, it's on the left side of the circle, which is upward energy. Okay, so the liver gallbladder is nourished by upward moving energy. Okay, and that becomes really important when we talk about what damages the liver gallbladder and what symptoms tell us that the liver gallbladder is out of whack. Okay, so fire energy, the paired organs that correspond to fire energy are the heart, and small intestine. It's an SI. So the heart is in the center of the body, well, pretty much the center, a little to the left, and so are the small intestines. Okay, small intestines and the heart are in the center of the body. Both the heart and the small intestines are very active, right? The heart has to beat for your whole life. So fire energy is also very active, right? It's a very active type of energy. So the heart and small intestine fall into that category. Okay, so then let's move on to soil energy. And the organs that are nourished by soil energy are the stomach, spleen, and pancreas. Well, let me just tell you where the liver and small intestine are located, the heart and small intestine meridians. The heart and small intestines are located on the underside of the back of the arms. The small intestine is on the upper part of the baby finger, so it runs along the outside of your arm, up around your elbow, and up into your shoulder blades, at the back of your shoulder blades. And the heart runs on the inside of the baby finger, and it goes from your chest down on the underside of the underside of your arm. Okay, like this. Okay. The small intestine is the yang organ. The heart is the yin organ. Okay, just because the heart is nourished by Earth's force, the small intestine is nourished by heaven's force. Okay, The stomach, spleen, pancreas. The stomach, spleen, pancreas are located in the center of the body. The stomach, is between below and between your rib cage. The spleen is on the left side, and the pancreas is the deepest organ in the body. It's behind the stomach. Okay, so the stomach meridian runs on the outside of your leg to uh, your. It starts here. It starts on your face, goes down the outside of your leg, and exits from your first and second toe. Okay. The spleen meridian runs from the outside of your big toe and up the inside of the leg. Okay, that's all you need to know for this. And the stomach and pancreas are the same meridian. So it's these organs, which are in the middle of your body, are governed by soil energy. So in some charts, in some 5 transformation charts, you'll find that the soil is often in the middle. Soil will be in the middle. Soil. And then you just have 4 elements. So if you ever go to a solstice party, they talk about east, north, west, and south energies. So they have the 4 elements and the 4 directions, and then the soil energy is in the middle. Okay, so it represents the middle organs. So these organs are very, very important, and most illness starts here. So sugar disorders, right? The stomach, spleen, pancreas, if they're out of whack, then you're going to get mood swings and all kinds of problems. And that's where illness starts. Okay, next. Metal is the lung and large intestine. Lung, large intestine, large intestine. So the lungs are at the top of your body. They're on both sides, obviously. And the large intestine starts it joins the small intestine exits into the large intestine. So the large intestine ascends on the right side of the body. Then there's a transverse colon that goes across from the right side to the left side of the body. And then on the left side, the large intestine goes down, or the descending colon. Okay. So the meridians for the lung and large intestine are um, the large intestine meridian starts on your index finger and goes up the top of your arm and goes up to your neck and in through your jaw. And the lung meridian starts at your thumb and goes on the inside of your arm, up on the underside of your arm, and ends around the front of the shoulder. Okay, so the lung and large intestine are hollow. Well, the large intestine is a hollow organ. The lungs are more dense, right? Um, the and they are so they're kind of more expanded organs, okay? And they're nourished by metal energy. So I'll talk about the brains that go into these categories too in a minute. Okay, so that's lung and large intestine. And water is the kidneys, and the bladder. Kidney, bladder. Okay. The kidney meridian runs from kidney 1 is on the bottom of the foot, and it runs up the inside of the legs on both sides, right? It runs up on the inside, the soft part of the legs. And the bladder meridian starts here and runs all the way. It's a very long, long meridian. It runs around the head and then down both sides of the spine, through, past the buttocks, and it goes down the backs of the legs, and that's where the hamstrings would be. Okay, all the way. Yeah, and it ends exits through the baby toe. Okay, so I'm sure those of you that haven't studied meridians are confused, which is understandable. But don't be confused. You don't have to remember all this stuff. You can look at a meridian chart and get more confused. But just what's important here is that we have these paired organs, and they're nourished by they're not placed randomly, in these categories or with these elements, right? There's a reason for that. Okay. So that's all you need to know. Don't get hung up on meridians and points. We'll go over those individually over the next five. Oh, I don't know if I can. I'm going to Italy in August, so maybe I'm going to have to change the time for the presentation. But anyway, and then you can watch the recordings on my website. I put all the old Macro Mondays on the website. They're all there, so you can catch all of those. I don't have to send you. I'll just automatically post this after I'm done. Okay, so are there any questions? I'm sure. Oh, it looks like I'm going to have enough juice to keep going. Do you have any questions? Okay, please feel free to ask because I'm sure you're probably all mixed up about what I'm telling you. Okay, so um, we can classify foods into the five transformations as well. But let's just generally, like upward foods that we can classify grains, into each of these categories. So, for example, for liver gallbladder, wheat, barley, and wheat and barley are very nourishing for the liver. So are green vegetables like sprouts, like green onions, like all kinds of greens like fresh lettuces, baby arugula, all that stuff, baby kale even, okay? And then fire energy, the grain that is associated with fire energy is corn. It's more expansive, relaxing grain, right? So fire energy is very intense energy. So we want the grain is going to be relaxing. So the corn is a bigger grain, right, than barley. So it nourishes the heart and small intestine. And in terms of vegetables, the large leafy greens like kale and collards are um, are beneficial for the heart and small intestine. Soil energy, the grain that nourishes soil is millet. Millet is a very sweet grain. It's round and it's very nourishing for the stomach, spleen, pancreas. It relaxes the stomach, spleen, pancreas as long as the millet is not cooked so that it becomes dry. Then it becomes contracting to the stomach, spleen, pancreas. So learning how to cook is really important. Um, and the vegetables that nourish the stomach, spleen, pancreas are round or ground vegetables like squash, mm, broccoli, cauliflower, turnips, rutabaga, all those round vegetables, onions, cabbage. Okay, so because they're very sweet and they nourish the stomach, spleen, pancreas. Okay, for the lung, large intestine, the grain is brown rice, and the vegetables are root vegetables. So carrots, burdock, daikon, parsnip nourish the intestines. So if you want to strengthen your large intestines and your lungs, um, that's those are good. The root vegetables is where you want to make sure you include them in your diet. The lotus root is especially good for the lungs. The lotus root, it actually grows underwater. So maybe the category for that would be, I think it's metal actually. And then when you slice a lotus, it's got holes in it, just like the lungs, right? So we've talked about remedies, lotus root tea for the lungs. So then water energy for the kidney, bladder, the taste. I didn't talk about taste, which I will do in a minute. Water energy, we don't have a grain for kidney, bladder, but beans, right? Kidney beans. Beans are shaped like the kidneys, so beans are very good for kidney, bladder, and also dried vegetables like dried shiitake, dried daikon. I think any kind of dried vegetables that you soak and reconstitute. That's really good for the kidney. Um, in terms of taste, I forgot to mention that, except I mentioned it for soil. So for tree energy, for liver, gallbladder, sour taste. Okay, so sour apple, lemon, very nourishing for the liver, gallbladder. Fire is bitter taste. bitter. Um, for soil energy, I already mentioned it's a sweet taste. For metal energy, it's pungent, like daikon, pungent daikon. I can't think of anything else right now. Anyways, if any of you can come up with some other pungent, that's good. And then for water energy is salt. This is very messy, but anyway, salty taste for water. Okay, so kidneys need salt, but they don't need too much salt because you're going to damage the kidneys if you have too much salt. But it's minerals, right? So kidneys are nourished with good quality minerals. Now, if you overdo these tastes, okay, if you have too much sweet, if you're not, when we talk about sweet taste, we're talking about millet and sweet vegetables like ground vegetables, carrots, but if we have lots of sugar, which is also a sweet taste, we're going to damage the stomach, spleen, pancreas. And when we damage the stomach, spleen, pancreas, we cause havoc on the kidneys. Okay, so sweet is very damaging, like extreme sweet is damaging. So we have to make sure, we've talked about this before, that we have good quality sweets regularly in our diet to avoid craving the extreme sweets, which then damage. And same as with having too much salt. Too much salt will wreck your kidneys. It'll make your kidneys very tight. They won't be able to filter anymore. In extreme cases, it can lead to kidney failure. Okay, that's just tightness caused by salt and things that have salt. Okay, so oh yeah, and just we talked about the position of the organs. So the liver gallbladder is on the right side of the body. The right side of the body is nourished by upward energy. The left side of the body is nourished by downward energy. The kidney bladder, the bladder is low, it's low on the torso, and the kidneys are, behind, just above your waist in the back. Um, heart, spleen, metal. Okay, so I think we've covered sort of where everything belongs on the five transformations. The five transformations is a really deep study, and these little sessions that I have are just meant to kind of encourage you to study further and to give you just like a very cursory understanding of every topic that I talk about. Okay, let's see. There's a question. Ginger is pungent. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Ginger is pungent. Thank you. So any questions? Maybe you're wondering like, what can this possibly have to do with my life? Because it seems so theoretical and so philosophical, and like it doesn't have any practical application, but it actually does have a very major practical application. And next week we're going to talk about, oh, so everybody understands where the organs are in the body: the liver on the right, spleen, descending colon on the left, heart, small intestines are middle organs, are in the center of the body and very active, and the stomach, spleen, pancreas are in the center. Okay? If you don't, feel free to ask me because maybe this is confusing. Okay. Okay, so next week we're going to talk about liver, gallbladder more in depth, and then from there we'll then talk about heart, small intestine, and so on. We'll go around this circle. Like imbalances in certain organs will create certain conditions, and then certain foods, when we learn which foods will damage certain meridians and organs and which foods will nourish. So you can really change your condition by understanding how energy moves, right? And what kind of energy is in different types of foods, and what kind of energies, what kind of food blocks energy, and which kind of food supports energy for organ systems. Okay, so that's our talk for tonight. And if you have any questions, I'm going to turn off the recording. And thank you for joining me. And if you have any personal questions, feel free to email me. That's totally fine. Okay, I'm signing out. But I'm gonna put it on discussion. So don't leave if you